had to happen like
Well,
that. Hmm.
so I had a pretty interesting experience a couple months back. I actually just turned 50 years old in December. And I started thinking about just my life, my career, what I wanted to do with my life. And I was speaking with, my leadership team and saying, hey, I've never been in a position to ask for what I want out of my career. I think it was just fear of just the expectations or not knowing what is next, right? So you kind of hold yourself back. And I started thinking about, I plan on retiring in the next 15 years, 10, 12, 15 years. I don't want to burn myself out in my career, and don't want to burn myself out from a personal standpoint. However, I also got to a point where I said to myself, what is it that you want to do? You have to be really true to yourself. Stop worrying about what everybody else wants and the expectations that everybody puts on you. Start thinking about what you want. You're later in your career. Now start establishing your boundaries, start establishing what you want out of life. What do you want out of your career? And I would say about November period, and again, I'm getting to my 50th birthday, and I'm starting to think about my future. I'm starting to think about aging and, families aging and the challenges they're going through and how I have to engage there. And I went through a pretty traumatic experience in my life, and it actually hit me in November. I kind of reverted back to, shall I say, a past experience that really put me in a really emotional, very depressive state. And I started realizing it was not just that experience that was also affecting me, but it was also the burnout that I was having within also the environment I was working in. And I finally said to myself, I have to start thinking about self. I have to start thinking, how am I going to be effective if I'm not good with myself? And that's when I started the journey of self-care and self-love and self-reflection and dealing with past traumas. And my journey there started with just saying I needed time to reflect on me and what I wanted. And I needed to be a little more selfish because, from a mental health standpoint, what we don't realize as a society is that we all go through challenges in life. We all go through some level of trauma or experience. And we have to learn how to deal with those things and how to cope with those things. I reached out for help. I did. I felt myself getting in a very depressive state. So I reached out for counseling. I started coming to Magnolia's Wellness Center and started getting some self-care there. And I started really writing and journaling my everyday experiences and talking to people, talking to people. I think my experience with the Sistership Network and being a host of a radio show that deals with a lot of issues, a lot more women, but it impacts everybody. That I think just opened me up to be a little more open of myself and showing people that to be strong doesn't mean, saying or going through your traumas or going through your experiences being weak. That's actually being strong. That's actually showing people a level of, hey, everybody goes through something and it's okay. It's not it's not an issue. Don't feel the stigma of going through some issues is that you have to seek counseling or you have to see someone, that it's a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because now you're healing yourself. So and I know I said a lot in that space, but I think it's important for people to understand that it's so important to be, shall I say, the authentic self, right? Be very authentic with you so that you can be authentic with others.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's one step at a time, right?
Yeah,
One step.
absolutely. You had to, it was a daily journey. It was not something, and I don't say that I'm fully healed, right? 2 months is not fully healed. It has to be a very small experience that you have to overcome. But for me, it was a life journey, 20 plus, 30 plus years of things that I had to work through that I never worked through before because I was constantly working, trying to survive, trying to live life, trying to make a living, trying to go to school as an adult, get my degree and, and continue to keep moving, and what I found through counseling, which was such a eye opener for me, is that, Steph, what you've been doing is continuously trying to survive and not dealing with everything that you were experiencing on your journey. You kind
Yeah.
of repressed it, right? And you left it in the background, and you said, I'm not going to deal with it now because I have to continue to keep working and surviving. And then one day it hits you and you don't realize it. At what point will it hit you in life? And I always thought that it was just in the background, and it wasn't. It was always there. I just didn't realize it until I had one